Good morning, friends. Happy Monday morning. Wow. So like true story, I had to text my daughter to tell, I sent a text to Allie to tell her. So in the morning, we all have our routine, right? And especially on Monday morning, things are a little bit more harried, right? Because I jump up, I have to get a shower, make sure the dogs go out, make sure I give them food, make sure the cat's okay, make sure everybody's squared away before I start coffee time. But I also have to make sure that coffee time didn't get lost overnight. So I come in, make sure everything is still set the way it was supposed to be. Just basically get everything done. But Penny is my dog that has potty problems. And she's the oldest of all of them. And every morning, Daisy and Maggie get out of bed, they go outside, they do their business, they come in, we're good to go. Penny waits. And on Monday morning, I swear to all that's holy, I think she waits until I'm like going, okay, like you got to go now or we're going to be out of time. And she pops down off the bed. She's got to go. She also holds it forever. So she runs out the door. She's struggling. And I'm like, I got to start coffee time. You need to hurry this up. So we made it. Like literally, I popped in here and there was like, I think there was 15 seconds before I had to push start. So I'm here. You're here. Hope you had a good, weekend. I hope you had a good week last week. Let me know. There's this giant hawk, which we're going to get to later when we talk about critters, but it is circling. It is like, not a bluebird. It is just a giant beast of a beautiful bird. But anyway, it like keeps catching my eye because it's so big. And it's just like circling. I hope that's not a bad sign. Is that a bad sign? Ooh, I didn't think about that. Anyway, hope you had a good week. What did you do? Did you spread some kindness? Did you have a wonderful monumental thing? Did you have some struggles? Anything you want to talk about or share with us? Any celebrations? What was last week? It was President's Day on Monday. So I'm sure some of you had the day off. So just tell me what you did while we're zooming in. Good morning, Mr. Daryl. I didn't get to see you, but good morning, Daryl. There you are. So let's see. Anybody else pop in that I didn't get to say hello? Glasses, Amy, glasses. Right here. I did clean my glasses. I didn't realize how dirty they were. Actually, they're still kind of dirty. Hold on. My sister Jennifer gave me this stuff called Koala. I don't know. It's a good eyeglass. Let me clean them right here in front of you. I'll just do that. Now, I know this is not what you're supposed to do, but all I have around me is a tissue. Yes, I keep tissues near me, not just because I'm, runny nose or something, but, the tears, they come. Anyway, all right. Good morning, friends. Let me see. Do I even have all my stuff? Okay, yeah, I got my glass of water. Got my little Disney mug. I'm all prepped and ready, I think. I don't know. Let's see. Susan says, I love your backdrop and outfit. They really compliment your eyes. Aw, thank you. That's really sweet. My mom was really sweet one day. She was, I don't think she watches this live. I think she might fiddle around and find it later and she'll watch it. Whoops. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah, if you hear Jason Mraz randomly start singing, it's because all of my ringtones are a Jason Mraz song. We'll talk about my obsession with him another day. I'm too old to have that obsession anymore, so I don't publicly advertise it anymore. But anyway, so if you hear randomly somebody singing, it's my cell phone. So I'm sorry. Let me turn them off real fast. Just the ringers. Okay, cool. All right. What was I saying? Oh, I was going to say something. I don't remember what it was, but anyway, I hope you guys had a good week. So tell me what you did. Let me pop in and see what's happening over here. Talking about the weather. Yeah. So Sydney says, shut down only essential vehicles on the road since 9 last night. Wow, that's interesting. Oh, I know now what I was saying. My mom just actually said my eyes were really blue with this backdrop behind me. I see what you're seeing, but I don't see what you're seeing. You know what I mean? You probably don't, because that may not have made sense, but I don't look at my eyes. I look to make sure that like everything is positioned okay. Let's see. Oh, Sydney, Saturday night celebrated my bestie of 47 years, Dad's 95th birthday. Lovely party Saturday night. Oh, that's amazing. Well, happy birthday. That's amazing. 95. Wow. That's, you know, um, no one knows when it's their time, right? There's a lot of longevity on the female side of my family. My granny, my nanny, meaning my grandmother, my great grandmother, my other grandmother, my mother, like everyone. What's going on with my hair again? Um, they all, well, my mom is still here. Obviously, she's still kicking. She's doing a great job. But both of my grandmothers and my great grandmother that I remember as a child, well into their 90s, like high 90s. So, God willing, I got some time left, but I hope I can be as active and as aware and as alert as both of my grandmothers and my great grandmother were well into their mature life. My granny, I used to say, my dad's mom, Elsie Mae, by the way. My dad's mother, we called her Granny, Elsie Mae. She was just as smart as a tack. She had these brilliant, bright blue eyes. She had had a stroke, so she was in a nursing home for a while. And then, as things happen, money may run out, so she goes back to live with her daughter, my aunt, and but you go visit her, and boy, all of the children and grandchildren and great grandchildren, and she remembered names, birthdays, like the whole thing. She was just so super smart. So anyway, so happy birthday and happy 95th. That's amazing. Yes, and then Allie's reminding me what I was saying. Yeah, my mom was telling me about the story of my eyes. It really is, like I said, I never paid attention to it. I love blue, but I guess maybe the blue in my eyes is pulled out by the thing. I don't know. But thank you. Thank you for that. That I was at it. Sorry, my glasses are driving me nuts. The other day, oh, I know what it was. Like, I tell you everything, right? I went the other day, the lady that does my hair, doesn't do eyebrows, and the lady that used to do my hair did do eyebrows. So I hadn't had them done in a while. Ladies, right? Now I don't have really big eyebrows anyway, and I'm older, so it's not like it's a big problem. But I went the other day and I was like, okay, I finally need to do this. And I told the lady, I said, before you say anything like negative, or just understand where I'm coming from, it's been a hot minute. And but I told her, I said, the only thing I like about myself anymore is my eyes. Everything else that I used to be okay with physically, that's all gone by the wayside. I'm like, well, the legs are gone, the calves are gone, arms are gone. It happens, right, as you get older. So I was like, well, my eyes are the only thing. So maybe I should go back and get the eyebrows done. Anyway, so no big deal. But thank you, Allie, for reminding me, because part of the other things that goes is your mind. All right, let's see what else we got. Oh, Melody said the grandkids did a sleepover. How fun is that? I can't wait for the day when Easton and Elsie are old enough that, there's a scenario in which they could come have a sleepover at Mimi's. That is like my dream. I cannot wait. That would be awesome. So what'd you do? Oh, wait, she said, and it's snowing again. Yep. Okay. All right. Well, that's a lot going on. Well, we have a lot to talk about today. I'm excited about next week's topic. I'm already on to next week because I'm really excited about it. So next week, I think we're going to do a full topic, potentially, I don't know, so about spring cleaning and everything involved in thinking beyond the snow, right? Beyond the blizzard, beyond the snow, beyond the piles of it that's heaped up on the sides of the streets for some of you where you live. But once that thaws and goes away, the beautiful rebirth of spring and the flowers and the warmer weather and the birds and all of those things. And then the things that, how we can, clean and purge. And, we touched on it one week and I was like, you know what? And plus there's just some fun things I wanted to share with you. So that's next week. But this week we have a lot of good topics. So let's go into our topics for today. Okay, did you guys have sound during that? Did you hear the music? Because I did not, but I heard it earlier when I checked everything. So let me know if you heard the sound on the brewing bump. If you did, that's great. Elizabeth, yes, I know. It'll be a while before Elsie will do that. Well, just shush. You don't need to tell me that. That's fine. Just let me live in my little dream. And Melody says it is the best. Anyway, okay, so our topics for today, forever home or stepping stone, and what to consider when you're thinking of purchasing a home, whether it's going to be that forever home or whether or not it is going to be just a stepping stone. Okay, good. Thank you, Elizabeth. Yes, 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 yes. That's so weird. I didn't hear the music at all. So that's fine. As long as you're getting the sound, I'm good to go. The second topic is going to be the emotional side of real estate. Things that people don't really talk about sometimes, and a lot of things that people just push aside. We'll talk about that. And then we doing another this or that. I had so much fun when we did that before the holidays, when we were kind of doing like the holiday themed this or that. And I love that because I love you guys being able to interact with coffee time. And, it's just fun. I get to learn a little bit about you, and it makes me think differently sometimes. Plus, it's good information, right? It lets me know more what clients that are looking to buy are looking for, things that they prefer versus things that they don't feel are necessary. So we have another one of those as our last brewing topic for today. So, okay, good. I'm glad. Yay. All right. You guys got the sound. That's really good. I'm happy you're getting, I don't know why it stopped, but as long as you can hear me, we're good to go. Okay. Let's go to the first brewing topic, which is forever home or a stepping stone. And what I mean by that, obviously, it kind of is common sense, is the home that you're looking for intended to be. Now, granted, excuse me. Do you hear that cough? I don't know what that deeper part happened. I'll cough, and then there's like that deeper piece of it. I don't know what's going on. Anyway, all right, forever home or stepping stone. So if you're looking to purchase a home, is the home that you're intending to purchase, or is the home that you're purchasing intended to be your forever home? Whether you're starting a family and you want to grow your family and raise your family throughout those walls, or is it that this is the last home and so at this point it's going to be your forever home, whatever that may be, or is this considered a stepping stone? And obviously a lot of us have purchased homes knowing that it's not going to be our final spot, right? That it's like, okay, well, when Eric and I got married, our first home together, well, it was an apartment, but our first home that we purchased was a townhome, and we knew that was going to be like a 3 to 5 year, home for us. And knowing that at the time, interest rates being what they were, us being a young broke couple, just trying to make it. I had just opened my dance studio, so I wasn't really making any money from that. And although I had it for many years and still never really made any money from that, but that's okay. My heart was really rich. But young couple starting out in life, had our first townhome, and we knew that was just going to be like a 3 to 5, maybe a 5 to 7 year pit stop or a stepping stone for us. And so that was great. So, by the way, when you know that, financing should come into play as well. Like, for instance, in that one, we did one of those adjustable rate mortgages with the balloon, but we knew we'd be out of there. So it was helpful to us at the time. I'm, again, not a lender, so you talk to your lender about that. But for us, it was a stepping stone for sure. And then we went to our next home, which when we purchased it, candidly, I thought it was going to be our forever home. That was the home where, Elizabeth and Dawson both came home from the hospital in that house. Forrest and Alyssa both were in the townhouse after they were born. And I thought that would be our forever home, and things change. And then, of course we've moved, but everyone's life story has those types of scenarios. So here's something though I want you to think of. And again, I've got some clients that are looking for a new home and they don't think it will be their forever home. I mean, it could end up being their forever home, but the plan is that it's not, that it is a stepping stone along the journey. So one of the things that I wanted to discuss with you, because it's what I discussed with them, which is if you know that this is a temporary stepping stone, this is not a forever home, then you have to think beyond just the floor plan, or at least you should, in my opinion, because I care about you not just now and the house that you're buying now, but how is that home going to serve you and how is it going to help or hinder you later in life, especially if you are going, well, we're moving into this knowing that we're going to be here maybe 5 years, give or take. Then let's make sure that we're picking a home that 5 years, give or take, is still going to prove to be a good investment for you. So, for instance, the age of the home. If you know, and first of all, keep in mind that depending on where you live, there may not be new construction around you. So, all the homes may have age on them. Okay, so take this for what it's worth, depending on where you live and what options are available to you. But if it's going to be a 5-year home, 3, 5, 7, maybe even a 10-year home, if that's going to be a stepping stone for you along your journey, then think about the age of the home that you're purchasing. If you purchase a home now that's already 20, 25 years old, and you know you're going to have to sell it, there's more age on that home. There's also right in that window of, is the roof going to have to be replaced? Is the air conditioning and heating units going to have to be replaced? Appliances, hot water heater, outdated, design options that you may need to feel like you need to upgrade in order to sell it. Things like that should be considered when you're thinking long-term. Now, first of all, as always, you do you. Do what feels right. No one is guaranteed tomorrow. But at least think about it. At least be thoughtful in your decision to make sure that it's a good combination of it works perfectly for where we are now and what we want and need now, but that it's also going to be helpful to you later. But yeah, you need to think about that, the resaleability. If you know that you have a home or you're going to purchase a home that's 20 years old and there's all this new construction popping up and thriving around you, well, when you go to sell it in 5, 7, 10 years, it might be difficult because there's still going to be an abundance of new and newer homes for people to choose from. And remember, no matter where you live, whether it's Florida, whether it's Virginia, whether it's Montana, whether it's California or New York, the newer the home, the newer the energy efficiency features are in the home, the newer obviously the design options, the newer, the energy efficiency, the new building codes. Building codes, we've talked about that before. So the newer the home, I'm not going to say newer home, the better, but can be. But the newer the home, the fewer things you should, in theory, have to worry about if you plan on selling it 3, 5, 7, 10 years later on down the road. So I think that's important to consider. And it's kind of has to be a good balance between living in the moment, enjoying where you are in life, because we're not guaranteed that tomorrow, but also not living your life like, not thinking of the future, still plan for it. And so I think it's just important to be thoughtful about that. So let's see what you guys are saying. I hear Elsie has tuned in while she has breakfast. Hi, Mimi. Hi, Elsie May. Mimi loves you. Boop, boop, boop. That's what we do. Mrs. Florida Man, Kathleen, our second home was a stepping stone, but we liked it so much we stayed for 20 years. That can happen too. Exactly. So one of the things that we told our children when they were getting their first home was that it may not be their forever home, but does it have longevity if everything goes terribly wrong and you don't have the funds with which to go bigger later? Like, does it have enough bedrooms for you to have the children that you want and grow the family the way that you were hoping to? Even if kids have to share rooms instead of having their own room, as long as that home will have some longevity potentially, if warranted, then that's fantastic. But yeah, I mean, our only stepping stone that we knew we were going to have was that townhouse. But to be honest, we were just so giddy with love and excitement for our life and where we were. And Eric and I had each other. And we had these, in our townhouse, 2 amazing, beautiful babies, and in a really lovely community. It was new construction when we built it and purchased it, and close to my dance studio at the time. I mean, everything, it was just wonderful. But we still knew it was going to be probably going to be a short-term home. And it had 3 bedrooms. One of them was the tiniest thing I've ever seen in my life. But Forrest had a room. Allie had the nursery. I don't know that we could have had more kids in there, but we would have done what we needed to do, right? Let's see. Yep, that one. Pam, I love our home and neighborhood and area, but I know at some point we will downsize as we get older and go to a single floor home. Yeah, that's obviously always. Oh, Elizabeth said she went boop boop boop. That's very sweet. That's always a thing, Pam. Right? It's like, well, I mean, when Eric and I built the home that I sold, we still had the square footage, all the big, the rooms and everything. The difference between our first house in Florida and the second house in Florida was literally where the primary bedroom was. That was it. Everything else, square footage was comparable. Bedroom, bathroom count was comparable. There was we upgraded a lot in the second home. But it was the main thing for us and our livability was that the primary was on the first floor. So Eric and I knew that whole first floor, if that was our forever home, if life didn't do what it did, our plan was that was our whole first floor. Once Dawson moved out, not rushing him, right? Once he graduated college, once he was out and launched and on his own, his room, which was basically a little studio suite apartment, it was a bedroom with a sitting area, with a wet bar and a beverage fridge and his own bathroom and his own garage door entrance to his own single car garage. Yeah, I know he was spoiled, right? But, our thought was, well, once he's gone, we will probably make that our heart and home office. Like we'll put everything in there and kind of make that our own, real estate place. So yeah, I mean, plans can go awry, but that, that's a thing too, is to think about where that bedroom is. But yeah, I mean, I think it's just really important I always tell people to be thoughtful about, obviously you're spending lots and lots and lots of money, but as to whether or not this is going to be a stepping stone. If you're like, I have no plans on staying here forever, obviously making sure that the home still accommodates you because you just don't know what's going to happen. But also think a little bit ahead on, if I have to sell this, what is that going to look like? If you're buying a home now, let's just as an example, let's say the roof is going to last, let's just say 25 years. Okay, the roof is going to last 25 years. Big expense, right? Let's say it's 20 grand for the roof. I don't know, just saying. Okay, that's probably about right. So, let's say you buy a home now, knowing it's going to be a short term, 5 years for you. And you buy that home and it is already 17, 18, 19, 20 years old. Well, chances are before you leave the house, you're going to have to replace the roof, or when you go to sell it, the roof is going to be an issue in the sale of it. And if the roof is at the end of life, you won't be able to get homeowners insurance for that property. The buyer won't be able to get homeowners insurance for that property. And therefore, you're going to have to come to some agreement with the roof and how that is going to work. So, you think about that. Like, are you going to have an extra $20,000 for the roof? And what if the AC unit goes kaput because it's been on its last leg for a while now, and now a buyer comes along and the inspection says, I'm surprised it's still working. Well, a buyer's not going to want to buy a home with a roof that's at end of life and an AC and a heating unit that's barely working. They're going to need those replaced as well. So you can see where financially that could be a problem later on. And that's the last thing you want when you're going to sell your home and you're thinking about that next piece of your life's puzzle, is to go, what am I going to do? And, candidly, my mom, although she's not looking to sell her home, but, her roof needs to be replaced. And, and it was sad and sweet all at the same time when I was talking to her recently that, when she bought the house that she's in, the roof, she's already replaced the roof once, but it needs to be replaced again. And she's like, I didn't expect to still be living to have to deal with that. And that is another thing as we all get older, is not discounting the longevity of our lives and making sure that we have been thoughtful about whatever decision that is. Okay. You know what? I have noticed that I belabor a point. So you guys can help me by just, commenting, next topic, Amy. I'm just kidding. Don't do that. That would hurt my feelings. Anyway, okay. Good. Good morning from behind Levi Stadium. Good morning. We purchased our house brand new over 27 years ago. We'll be paying for a new roof before we sell. Exactly. And, again, if you think it's your forever home, these are things that you as a buyer of any age, whether you're a new first home buyer or whether you've been down this road several times, whether this is a stepping stone or whether this is your forever home, you still have to understand that those big ticket items are important, and you have to make sure that you have a contingency plan for them. You can't just go through life not knowing that, oh, I didn't think about the fact that one day I thought I could just patch a hole. Well, no, you probably are going to have to get the whole roof replaced at one point in time. And sometimes when they go to replace the roof, they see that there's some wood rot, and then that has to be done. So it can snowball, my friends. But yeah, so be careful. And he says, I'm 69 years old. Wow. Okay, excellent. I love it. Well, your picture doesn't look like you're 69 years old. All right, guys. So let's go on to our second topic, which is, what is our second topic? Oh, the emotional side. Yeah. So we touched on this a little bit, but this is a little bit different. This is more about, people often think about real estate, and I will say a lot of realtors do this. Realtors, many of them are really about the transaction of real estate. They just want to find you a house. They want you to contract. They want it to close, and they want their commission. And there's nothing wrong with that, by the way. That's sales, right? That's sales. And that's wonderful. I do not fault anybody for that. I feel like what I do is more service. I mean, it's sales, I guess, in a sense, but I'm not trying to sell you on a specific house. I'm trying to service you and help you find the home that works for you. And then as we talk about it, not only with the emotion, I mean, it is a financial decision. And there are a lot of people, whether you're a new first-time home buyer or whether you are now downsizing and using the last bit of your retirement, investments to kind of look at what you have left to spend and how best to use that. So it is more than just a financial decision. Certainly, that's the number one thing it is it's financial. Can you afford it? How can you afford it? That's part of it. But it's to me, it's a transaction, or it's not a transaction. It's about transition for you. Again, whether you're like, oh my gosh, we're starting our family. This is fantastic. Or, wow, our family is growing and we've got 4 kids and this is just heaven. I never expected all the laughter and the fun and the love and the house and the soccer and the dance and the music and the this and the that. And you're in that part of it. And then you transition to, okay, now the kids are gone and now we're empty nesters. And then you transition to, okay, well, maybe we need a little bit more, like 55 plus community where we feel like there's a community around us that is there to, relate to us and even help take care of each other. So it definitely, to me, when people are buying or selling their home, it's about the transition of life that they are going through too. Sometimes it can be divorce. Got a few of those right now. And that is emotional. Not only is there, I'm not divorced, but not only is there the emotional side of that, whether it's a regretful, reluctant divorce or whether it's a very heated and angry divorce, both are emotions. So you've got divorce, you've got loss, the loss of your spouse, the loss of your child, the loss of your mother or father or sister or brother. Loss can facilitate the need to move, which is clearly an emotion. Sometimes it's not even your house that you're selling. You're selling your mother's house, or you're selling your children are selling your house. Like there's emotion involved. Illness, right? Sometimes people are sick and the house does not accommodate them anymore. People that become disabled and can no longer manipulate the stairs. Maybe they have to sell or buy a home because of that. That's emotional. I know for me, and I'm still relatively mobile, I still am like, I can't believe I physically could do all the things that I could do when I was dancing. I think back to the shows and the choreography and the turns and the leaps, and the jumps and the down and the up. And thinking of it hurts my knees. But imagine when you are ill, whether physically or mentally, as things deteriorate, how that emotion sits with you as to why you need to either buy or sell a new home. There's emotion there. Financial change, okay? Maybe you were a two-income family and now all of a sudden you're not, whether it's by divorce or whether it's by loss. All of a sudden you don't have what you used to have because you don't have that second income. Maybe you lost your job. Maybe you had a new job and you had to move out of state because you were relocated. That's emotional. It's all emotional. And then of course retirement, what should be, and I feel like will be, if I ever get to retire, a really joyful moment of reflection and pride in what I was able to do during my life, the people I helped. So I think retirement for me would be a happy time. It would allow me time to give back in other ways and to volunteer and to just scatter joy as little small ways that I can. That's my goal for retirement. That's emotional. But for other people, it can be a sad reflection. And if I'm retiring, that means, that's a next little stop on a timeline of life. And so there's emotion there. So point is, emotion is everywhere. There's also this very simple and very common emotions of fear. Did I just overpay for this house? Or did I sell it too low? Could I have gotten more for this house? If I did, what could I do now? So then that leads and feeds to regret. And then there's the market uncertainty. So you're emotionally volatile. You don't know what you're doing. And then on top of all of that, the decision fatigue. If you are a buyer specifically, as you're out there in this buyer's market that we're in, and you're out there and you're looking at homes, multiple homes, you're seeing, 5, 6, 7 homes, and this one has that, but that one has this, and this one costs that, but that one's offering this. It can be decision fatigue, which is why I always talk about not muddying the water. Like if you've got 10 houses and you already know that 3 or 4 of those are really, they've got something that's going to disqualify them, but you're still curious. Let's not see them until you've seen the other ones that are going to be really good, strong contenders for you, to make sure that, and then if you want to see them, we can. But when you throw all of them in, it's a lot harder to visually and mentally and emotionally discern which home is really going to be best for you. So decision fatigue is a very, very real thing when you are out there house hunting. So anyway, point is just knowing, that it's not about, I don't ever think of it as a transaction. I don't think I'm in sales. I think I'm in service. I don't think of real estate as a transaction. I think of it as a transition. What are you transitioning to? Maybe you're just transitioning down the street. Maybe you're transitioning because your family's growing. Maybe you're transitioning because your family is, empty nesters. So there's just so many reasons. And I think that anyone that doesn't know that you're having an emotional part of the transition, I don't know, maybe that's why I love you guys so much, because I don't think of it that way. And then I think we get a little bit more connected. But okay, let's see. Laura. I always describe working in real estate as helping people make their dreams come true. And that's the kind of realtor I like referring to. That's what led me here. Oh, you guys, I love you. Thank you. Thank you. And I won't say it about me, but I'm saying I agree with that. I don't want someone who's only in it for the transaction, personally. But that's exactly it. I think if you are the person who is like, nope, it's about transaction and numbers and I want the best deal and I want to then I'm not your person. You probably don't like me, and so you're not watching this. But if you can't be who you are and be true to yourself, then what are you doing, right? Sydney says, true, Amy, definitely emotion is there. 100%. Exactly. We raised our daughters in the house and we enjoyed going to Niner games in Santa Clara. Jay, I'm loving retirement. Highly recommend. Jay, maybe you're going to have to give me a few. See, here's the thing, like true story. I'll tell you about this in a minute. Let me just go through these extra little things. But Tracy, I always struggle with figuring out how much my emotions are affecting my judgment in big decisions. It sure can make something like buying and selling homes challenging. It can. And I think anybody that ignores or dismisses your emotion is not, I don't know, I just don't think that's good. I think there are better ways to do it. And then my wife will be 65 this June. She does have over 45 years at Kaiser Hospital. She'll retire before the end of the year. Wow. Excellent. I'm so impressed. I'm looking forward to retirement. So 2 things I want to mention before we go to the third topic. Golly, time flies when we're having fun. Okay. So by the way, I don't know if I like this or not. I got it. Like, I don't know. I like the colors, but I think it's giant. Anyway, okay. So 2 things about emotion. Well, one thing about emotion, one thing about retirement. So the first one is, speaking of emotion. So I have some clients, and we've kind of referenced their situation before, where they were repeat clients of mine. Help them purchase the home that they're in, which is currently on the market, help their child purchase a home, and they're looking now to have a new home and sell their existing. And they went out to some new construction communities without me and didn't tell me. No. Repeat with me. No. Don't do that. Just tell me. Tell me you're going so I can take care of you. I don't necessarily have to be there with you if you're like, I just don't know when I'm going to go, Amy. I don't want to bother you. Cool. But if I know you're going, I'll tell you to ask for Sandy or whatever. And then that way you'll know who to ask for. So anyway, so a little bit of flub ups in the beginning. I will say, in their defense, they were very much misled by the builder's representative. And without them letting me know that they're there, they signed paperwork and contracts and things that they did not understand, which put them in a very precarious position because they were contingent to sell. That was not written in the contract. That was a problem. That whole situation fell through. They lost that house. The builder still, almost a year later, has kept their earnest money deposit because there was no contingency to sell written in the contract. So that means that when they canceled, because they had to cancel because they couldn't buy it because they hadn't sold their other house and they didn't have the contingency in there, the builder still has quite a bit of their money that they will not give back. And here we are almost a year later. We were told we could transfer those funds. So we were trying to work on that all day yesterday. We've been trying to work on getting a new contract written on a new property with the same builder. Just some of the policies that are builder policies are triggering them and their emotions because of how they were treated and how they felt that they were misled, and they felt that it was a very shady situation. And they're very reluctant. They're very emotional about this. And it's a different set of emotions. It's not the ones that we were just referencing. So emotion is rampant to the point where, sometimes you're like, I just want to forget it. And I have to keep reminding them, you have quite a bit of money that you're going to completely lose if we don't at least attempt to try to find something else. And you can do what you want. I'm just trying to save everybody's money. But there's a lot of emotion and a lot of heartache and a lot of resentment with the builder and a lot of distrust with the builder for misleading them, for not adding me to the contract when they knew that they were working with me, for not adding the contingency to sell when they knew that they were contingent to sell, for telling them where the property line was on a property and that's not where it was at all. And, lots of things kind of here and there. So emotion plays a part. The other thing, and I'm going to go real quick about retirement and retiring and like Social Security. So I went to a free seminar a few weeks ago because candidly, I was not prepared for Eric to pass away. I wasn't. And I don't think we ever are, but I certainly had not I did not know enough about a lot of things that I probably should have known about, just as a human, as a citizen of the United States. I should have known how our Social Security works. And I didn't. And so I went to a seminar about Social Security and kind of estate planning and financial advisor type thing. I learned a little bit, and and I realized that based on the way Social Security works, I probably am not going to be able to retire. And, that is very emotional for me. And, and it's, so one of the things, and then I'm going to move on to the next one, because this is a fun topic, this or that. One of the things, and I don't know if you know this or if you're aware, but I think that everyone, if you are, I'm 58, okay? It doesn't matter where you are, by the way. If you're 22 and you're watching this, you need to know and you need to plan. You've got more time to take care of yourself than I do. For those of you that are watching, if you're anywhere near my age, anywhere in your 40s or above, like for instance, I didn't realize that Eric passed away. He passed away right after he turned 56 years old. Birthday, December 7th, turned 56. January 8th, he passed. He had just turned 56. So he had more years of work and earnable income to contribute to the Social Security. And I, as his widow, was like, well, do I get his Social Security? I didn't know. And the answer is yes, I can draw his Social Security, but not until I'm 60, which I'm fine. I'm in real estate. I'm good. I'm fine. I'm not worried about me financially. But what I worry about is the money that he put in for anyone. What if you are a single mother out there and your job, not a single mother, let's say that you are now a single mother, you're a widow, right? And you've got children. Well, I guess you've got dependents, so it's probably a different story. But point is, Social Security is a little bit confusing. And not only if I drew his Social Security when I'm 60, that limits then how much I'm able to earn. And I don't think that's fair. But Eric worked for that. So anyway, I went to this seminar. My eyes were really wide open and I went, wow, I did not realize some of the intricacies of Social Security and drawing Social Security and the how and the why and the when and the if and what happens to that Social Security if someone like Eric, who worked his whole life and contributed to it, no one will ever get that except, the government, which, I'm not okay with that. But at any rate, I digress. Let's talk about something else. All right, let's move on. So let's say real quick, Jane, yep, just turned 60. It's amazing how pensions have suddenly become very interesting. Melody, I totally agree. I'm single and don't have a clue about Social Security and retirement. I'll be working from my grave. I just turned 63. Melody, we can chat. I'll tell you all I know, which is not much, my friend. Jane, in the UK, we get state pension paid for through working as a monthly percentage of salary. But not until 67. Yeah, 67 is the retirement age here too for me, for my birth date, birth year, I guess. So 67 is not until I will get full retirement. But, then you have that internal conflict of, you want to live your life after you retire. So I don't know. It's all hot mess, but we'll talk about that another day. Let's go to our third brewing topics. Pam before we do that, Pam just popped over. Let me see. I just filed for Social Security and it's wild how little you are required to make if you want to collect. Yeah. Well, and from what they told me, Pam, was that they haven't updated that amount of it over the years. That's kind of, that's how much you're supposed to make, but that doesn't include all the years that have passed since that law went into effect and those numbers became the numbers. So I was like, that nobody can live off of that. How do you live off of what I would make from Eric's Social Security and then the amount that I can't make more than X amount? I mean, that's not feasible. I still have a kid in college. I still have to pay for college. He may not be a dependent because he's over 18, but anyway, it's definitely eye-opening and it's sad and it's a little depressing. So back to those emotions. All right, let's move on to our third topic. Okay, so are you ready? Get your fingers ready. Get your fingers ready. I love this. I think this is so much fun. So we're going to zoom through these because we are running out of time and I have so many other things to tell you. So this or that. All right, guys, are you ready? I want to hear what you have to say. And again, I know it's going to change depending on where you live, but if you had a choice, this is all if you had a choice in the matter, would you prefer a gas or a wood fireplace? Gas or a wood fireplace? Tell me what you think. I've had both. Growing up, I had the beautiful brick wood fireplace. Loved it. The smell, just the crackling of the fire, and I just loved it. It was just really nice. I think I prefer that, but for the ease and living and usability, it's a lot easier to just flip a switch and have the fire turn on. Not necessarily as pretty, not as cozy and as warm and as welcoming, but a heck of a lot safer, I guess. So tell me what you guys think. All right, so we have Sydney's gas, Jane wood, Pam, I love a wood fireplace, but gas is so much easier. I'm conflicted. I know, Pam, me too, me too. Kathleen, gas, Daryl, yep, I'm 60 and I hear the new sounds coming from my back and knees. You're so funny. Kim, wood. Allie, gas. Wood is prettier, but gas is easier. Some more wood. Richard's wood. The Grateful Drifter wood. Jay, gas. No ashes to clean. True, true, true. All right, these are all good. I love it. And by the way, these are important. These are fun little things because again, if you had your druthers, I don't know if anyone says that anymore, but that's the thing. All right, privacy fence or an open railed fence. And I think this is really interesting because there's a lot of people that just want that private backyard where they can go out there, the kids can play, the dogs can be out there, no one can see through the fence. Maybe you know, see over it eventually. But if you have the tall privacy fence or an open fence, again, I know there's going to be some contributing factors. You know, do you have a neighbor behind you or do you look out to a pond? I know. But in general terms, are you preferred a privacy fence or something that's more open? We have Kathleen says privacy fence. It depends on the location, but probably privacy, says Elizabeth. Pam, open fence if you have conservation land in the back. Yeah, I mean, again, the lot, it will definitely make a difference. For sure. I mean, I don't think there's anybody that if you had a rear neighbor that you wouldn't prefer the privacy fence, but it's really fun to see you guys, you know, your opinions. Okay, we're going to keep going. By the way, white picket fence. Oh, I love that. I love that one. White picket fence. Me too, my friend. Okay, so keep answering. I know that when I'm talking, you're, 10, 15, 20 seconds, whatever behind me. Keep answering. I'm going to move on to the next one. The pot filler or no pot filler. And if you don't know what the pot filler is, it is behind your stove. So you have your stove, your cooktop, and then where the backsplash usually is right behind it, there is a pot filler. There's a faucet, so to speak, where you can just pull it out, put the water in, so you don't have to carry a big pot of water from the sink. So some people like them because they think it looks really fancy and really luxury and really high end. Some people don't like them. I'm one of those people where I don't like it to interrupt the beautiful backsplash area back behind the stove or the cooktop. But just, a lot of people I think like them. I might like that more now that when you get older and it's a little bit more difficult to carry that big pot, but it's just me. So very rarely am I carrying a big pot of water. So anyway, Pam, all right, wait, hold on, let me go on. Elizabeth, no pot filler. Pam says, love my pot filler. Okay, Pam, tell us how often you use it. Do you use it every time you're, making spaghetti or just need to boil a big pot? Or do you like the look of it or a little bit of both? Boy, you guys are going fast. Okay. Kathleen, no pot filler. Jane, no pot filler. No pot filler, says Jay. Yes to the pot filler, says Sydney. No, says Fred. No, says Kim. No, says Tracy. Yes, says Rhonda. Grateful Drifter. Pot filler is interesting since you have a sink close by to throw away the water after cooking. Yeah, but if you have the sink to throw away the water, why wouldn't you just fill it up there too, right? Melody says no pot filler. Richard, no pot filler. Okay, cool. All right, let's move on. Open floor plan or defined spaces. Now, when I say defined spaces, I don't necessarily mean it has to be a closed off wall. It could be just a pass through, kind of a partition-y type thing. Open floor plan is what everybody kind of goes for. But I will tell you, I have seen more and more and more of my clients that are of my generation, give or take, have been there, done that. They grew up in a home where everything was defined. This was a room, this was a room, this was a room, this was a room. Then they have lived through the open floor plan concept where everything is open and connected and you can mix and you can mingle. And therefore, everything is visible at all times almost, which can be beautiful if you're a neat family. It can be chaos if you're not. But I find that more people of my generation are pulling back toward, I'd like it to be a little bit more defined. Like, I'm okay to have this room separated from that room. So this is a really curiouser and curiouser for this one. Kim, I have mixed feelings about this. Me too, Kim. I know. See, we're so connected. I do too. I struggle with it because I like the open and the airy and the light and the bright, but I also, I don't know. I feel like I want to have a purpose in each room that I'm in. I didn't think about it that way. But anyway, Sydney, open, but I do like the formal dining room, even if it's not used every day. Open floor plan. Allie, defined spaces. See, I told you, my daughter is an old soul. Allie is an old soul. Defined spaces, so cozy and less obvious when one part of the space is messy. Yep. She says that as the mother of a rambunctious little toddler boy running around. Elizabeth, open floor plan with kids. Need to be able to see them at all times. Okay, look at my two girls' comments back to back, right? Defined spaces, and then I got to see where they are. That's really funny. Love that. Grateful Drifter, go for the middle. Defined spaces, but not a lot of walls. Okay, yep. Jane, good point, Elizabeth. Rhonda, depends on the layout of the home, like an island and a kitchen table. Elizabeth says it forces me to be more neat. And then Melody says open floor plan. All right, let's keep on going. Oh my gosh, I gotta go fast. Rain shower head or a traditional shower. And this is, and I'm, by the way, I'm going to zoom through these. So as I go a little bit faster with prompting you, please keep typing them in. The rain shower is the circular shower. It's up over top. It comes down from the top of the ceiling and the water comes down this way. Okay. I don't like that. When I shower, I want to be able to put my head back and I don't like the water dripping all down everywhere, especially when you've got long hair and lots of soap and shampoo and stuff. I don't want that. So I am a no rain head shower person. I am more of a traditional shower. It doesn't mean you can't get a new shower head that maybe is bigger, and they can give you a wider range of water, but I still like it coming from the back or up at an angle, not directly above my head. So tell me about that. The showers. Also, primary bedroom or primary bathroom, tub or no tub. This one is huge. Please make sure you go through and answer these questions. Primary bathroom, tub or no tub. So many people are like, they want their tub, then they don't want their tub, and then the builders stopped putting tubs in the primary bathrooms. And now all of a sudden people want tubs again. So it's kind of a hot mess. So what are your thoughts on having a tub in the primary bathroom? I feel like I never used the tub. Baths just kind of creep me out a little bit. I've had baths before, hot water and you're soaking and whatever, but I don't find a bath relaxing. But Eric had migraines, and for the longest time, he would have to get in the bathtub in complete darkness and try to let the migraine leave. And so, we've had both. We've had the tub and the shower, and we've had just the big shower with no tub. So good one. Kitchen cabinets, light and bright, or do you want the warm and cozy wood tones? So kitchen cabinets, do you want white, harbor gray, light gray, just kind of the lighter, the off-white, the antique white? Do you want the lighter, brighter cabinets, or are you more inclined for the wood, warm, the deep, rich tones of wood that are a little bit more darker and cozy? Again, seeing lots of different trends. And by the way, in the darker tones, we're going to include things like the navies and the greens. So if you're like, well, I really don't want the wood color, but I would like a darker, richer, deeper color, you can include that in the warm and cozy. Okay, I'm going to give you a second while I take a sip of water. Okay. Okay, and moving on. So then the primary bathroom, we're back to the primary bathroom again. Do you like, and I've seen this recently and I thought it was very odd. And then I let it marinate a little bit. And I was like, okay. I was like, maybe they're going somewhere with this. I saw recently in a primary bathroom one single sink that was large. It was a larger than your normal little square or oval sink. It was a bigger sink. Not as big as a kitchen sink, but a little bit bigger. But then you had a tremendous amount of counter space on either side. So, curious, would you rather have the separate sinks for you and your significant other? So you each have your own sink to like shave, or if you're a dude, or female, I guess, to shave and to wash your face, brush your teeth, your own sink to do that, and smaller amount of counter space for any of your products or makeup or things like that? Or would you rather just share the same sink, one sink to clean, and then you each have a lot of counter space for either decor or for, again, products and things that you might need to have out on the counter? Oh, I love it. You guys are good. Just keep going. I can't wait to go back and read all these. Okay. Two more. Laundry closet or a laundry room? You may think this is a no-brainer, but I've had people mention lately it's such a task that they would rather just open up the bifolds, do the laundry, take the tub or the laundry basket, put it in the room, put the clothes right up. They feel like this is a very good statement that they made, and I had not thought about this. They felt like in a laundry room, when there was more space for more laundry baskets or a folding counter, that just gave them another room to clutter up. And I had not thought about that. So laundry room or a laundry closet. I think I still would like a laundry room. I have to tell you, I went from at our previous house, we had a really big laundry room. It had the dog bath shower in there. It had another little storage cabinets and shelves. And I had the laundry sink and more cabinets and shelves. It was gorgeous. It was big. But, I don't know that I needed all that space, but now mine is much smaller and I do struggle with, I wish I had a little bit more space in here. So yeah, interesting. Laundry room or laundry closet. And then here's my last one. Kitchen island. Now, most of the new construction homes that you see in and around anywhere that's building new construction, most times you're going to see the kitchen island is where the sink is placed. But there are some floor plans where the sink is on the perimeter of the kitchen and the kitchen island is a smooth, unobstructed surface. So I think I would probably, because every time no, that's not true. Our house in Yorktown, our sink, we had an island that was just an island. It was tiny. Oh boy, it was tiny, but I loved it. Tiny island, and our sink was on the perimeter. But in both houses, all the houses in Florida, they all had sinks in the island. And so that's a new thing too. I think if I could choose, I would rather have the sink on the perimeter, maybe with a window above it so I could look out to something, as opposed to being on the kitchen island, but that's just me. Let's see. Laura, nothing on the island, nothing. I love you. That's exactly right. Allie, I love a sink under a window, but I don't mind a sink on the island, especially when it makes the sink close to the stove. That's true too. Good point. Tracy, kitchen island either depends. If a window with a view is on the side counter, then having a sink located there is quite nice. Kim says without. Sydney, island with the sink directly across from the stove. Yeah, that is where most of them are. So they're creating that triangle, right? Jay, I like the sink on the perimeter under a window. Nothing on the island, sink on a window. Yeah, agree. Melody, kitchen, island, no sink. I've always dreamed of a window. Over my, me too. Well, maybe we should all just get together and we'll just build our house the way we want. Fanny, hi Fanny. Without a sink, my current one has it on the island and I hate the water mess my kids make all over it. Yep. Rhonda, without a sink, sink with a window works. Pam, the Griffin with Ashton Woods has the kitchen sink on the perimeter. Yep. I actually just sold a Griffin over in North Lake Innovation. So yeah, absolutely. Okay. All right, guys. That was fun. I love that. So we're gonna sprinkle those in here and there because I love it. I love being able to have you kind of interact with me. I love learning what it is that you guys like. All right, let's move on to a couple other things before we go. Okay, a big congratulations to Forrest, my son, who you might know is a data analyst for years. He also did crunching the numbers for us when we had that segment, which we would still do. We just haven't had time to do it. But he has now passed the Florida Real Estate Appraiser exam. So he is now training and finishing up that licensure, which is absolutely fantastic. He has always helped as a data analyst using the data brain throughout all of the real estate for the past several years now, which I love. And I tell my clients with our listings that, you know, I look at it from one perspective and we have the data from another. And now with his training as to be an actual appraiser, that definitely comes in handy. So we're very, 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 very proud of him. Good job, buddy. Super proud of you. All right, let's move on. Let's do wishes. Okay, Jeff and Angela are closing this week Thursday, I believe, on their beautiful new big DR Horton home. Jeff and Karen were on here last week and we said fingers crossed. Well, guess what? Fingers crossed again. Hopefully next Monday I've got some decent news. If not, we'll take them off and we'll put them on when we're ready. Nikki and Dan are officially out there looking, got them into a new construction, looking at that yesterday, and now they've got some good thinking to do, some decisions to make on their part. But love that. Thank you, Daryl, for that referral. They are absolutely adorable. Love them. All right, let's keep going. Let's see. Scoop. Okay, I know you know this, but I think it's important to reiterate this. Remember and know and understand that your neighbor's sale can affect your home's value more than the market. The most powerful influence is oftentimes the last home that sold near you. So a lot of people, when I do our home valuations and the home pulse, and we come up with the pricing and the pricing strategy, many times, all this information is at your fingertips, and you're also out there and you're looking like, well, this one sold. I'm like, yes, but that one is 1.5 miles away. Yes, it's the same zip code. Yes, it's the same city. Yes, it may still have the same schools that it's zoned for, but it is not the best comp. And I think it's important for everybody to know that. And that can be a good thing and a bad thing. And it really is nice, you know, having Forrest, you know, I kind of pick a little bit and I'm like, oh, well, so what would you do in this situation? Like, how would this affect something? So it really is nice to know that some of the things that I have felt and I have seen are actually real. Like, you know, and every time we do our evaluations, that's really important to know. So if your neighbor got way over asking, that's fantastic for you. That's going to be a great comp for you. If your neighbor just dumped the house, that's not going to be great for you. Although I have heard that if it is obvious that a home was dumped and sold well under value, that they would not necessarily consider that a comp. But if it's just a regular traditional sale, maybe they took 20,000 under what it was listing for, 25,000 under, it's going to matter. It's going to matter for sure. All right, a couple other things, and then I'm going to go because we're already after 10. Let's do word.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
Okay, non-refundable. I know you know what this means, but I need to make sure that you know what it means and that you understand what it means. If a builder tells you that your earnest money deposit or that your design center deposit is non-refundable, That means you're not going to get it back if something happens in the sale. If it's not even builder, if it's just resale, if you put in your earnest money deposit, okay, whatever that amount is, whether it's 5,000, 6,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever your earnest money deposit is, it is only protected during that period of time noted in your contract during your inspection period or your safety period. Beyond that, my friends, it's non-refundable. Now, you can request that it be refunded if something goes haywire, but you need to understand what non-refundable means. And more specifically, when it comes to new construction, as my clients learned, they paid their earnest money deposit, then they canceled the contract, and because the contingency wasn't in there to protect those funds, it's non-refundable, and they did not get it back. So it's been almost a year. They could have had that money in their own account earning interest or doing something for them. Instead, the builders held on to it because it's non-refundable. All right, make sure you know that. Okay, one more, because Elsie, I have been told that Elsie likes to hear Poppy. She knows that word. She knows that the intro to word is, did I just do word? No, I didn't. Did I? Did I just do word? Hold on. Did I do it? We were just talking about non-refundable. Elsie, did you hear it? Let me play it again so Elsie can hear it.
Oh, now come on, Amy, tell me what's the word.
I literally don't remember if I pushed that button a little while ago. So anyway, Elsie, you got to hear Poppy twice. All right, guys, last thing. Last thing for today. All right. We haven't done critters in a while, so the spring peepers are out. And if you know what spring peepers are, they are frogs that chirp. They don't croak. They don't make the normal sounds. It's like they chirp almost like birds, and it's incessant. It's nonstop. They don't shut up over and over and over again. And I say this because where I am, there is still some new construction kind of happening around, and there's a space back behind my house that has water. It's like it needs to be filled with some fill dirt, to be quite honest. But right now it's kind of holding water. It's not draining properly. And because of that, there's this puddle, and there are spring peepers there that are going day and night and day and night. So earlier when we first started our coffee time, and I told you that there was like this big hawk, I think, that was flying around. That's the only time those frogs shut up. That hawk, I think, goes around, dives down, grabs a frog, and then they all shut up for a little while, and then they get brave again and they start doing it. Anyway, I believe they're growing their little colony there. They're growing their family. So I think they're chirping, and that's where we are. So if you hear, by the way, Kim Sokolsky, I love all your pictures that you're putting on Facebook with all of the animals that were back behind your house. That's amazing. I meant to ask you if I should show some of those. But at any rate, if you are out and about and you are starting to hear some weird sounds that don't shut up, they're not crickets. They're not birds. They're not frogs in the sense of hearing it croak and you can't figure out what it is. It's probably those spring peepers, my friends. Okay, guys. All right. We are going to get out of here because I have a phone call in 5 minutes. So this was fun. Next week, like I said, we're going to talk a lot about spring cleaning, and not just your house, but kind of spring cleaning lots of things. So I think my plan at the moment is to have it be another one of those big fully immersed topics. So come back and join us then. Maybe even bring us some of your own tips about some things that you can do during your own time of purging. But more than anything, just know how much I love you guys. I appreciate you. Please make sure that you just give me a call if you're interested in anything. 407-848-8042. If you're on the Virginia side, 757-329-0055. By the way, you can call either number, is totally fine. I just have two of them because I've always had two of them. Anyway, as always, guys, remember how much I love you, and I really, really enjoy our mornings together on Monday. So thank you for being a part of my life and my Monday. Stay safe, stay well. Remember, I love you. I really do. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Have a good day. Have a good week. See you next week. Happy house hunting.